Hey guys, picking up here the second half of Shmuel Bet, Perek Tet Vav. We learned half the Perek, discussing the unfortunate story of Avshalom gaining starting rebellion, gaining the trust of the Jewish people, and ultimately we left halfway through the Perek with David leaving, leaving Yerushalayim, leaving his palace. Seems to be in the middle of the night in a very sad scene. And we pick up right there in the middle. Pasuk Yud Tet. Vayomer HaMelech al Itai HaGiti. We just noted that 600 Gitim also lived with him in Yerushalayim. And we made the point that David lived in Gat all the way back in the beginning of our learning together this year in Perek Kav Zayin of Shmuel Aleph. David lived in Gat, and he apparently had an influence on the people that 600 men came with him to protect him, take care of David in Yerushalayim. Vayomer HaMelech al Itai HaGiti. Now David tells Itai the Giti. It's unclear whether he converted or not. We'll look at the Mefarshim on this. Lama teleka mata itanu. David tells Itai, why are you leaving with us? Shuv v'shevim hamelach ki nochri ata. Go, return. Like, you could stay in Yerushalayim. You're a nochri. It sounds like from here, right? You're a nochri. You're a non-Jew. That would be the clearest interpretation over here. Gam gola talim komecha. Or, go back to where you belong, but you don't have to leave Yerushalayim with us. Avshalom, by the way, he goes to Avshalom the Melech, which is very interesting that David does that. But you don't have to leave. This is not your fight. This is not your battle. Tumol boacha, you came yesterday. Vayom aniyacha imanu. I'm preventing you. I don't want you to leave with us. Vani holech ala she'ani holech. I have to go because this is my family. This is my issue. I am the king. Shuv v'hashev et achecha imach. Go return to your family. Go return to your brothers. Chesed ve'emet. Meaning, this would be an ultimate chesed of what you're doing. It's unnecessary for you to do this, Itai. Itai responds, Kaf Aleph. Vayan Itai et hamelach. Itai answers the king. Vayomer. Chai Hashem v'chai Adoni hamelach. Like we said, Chai Hashem is like language of like I swear. Like in the name of Hashem and in the name of you, the king. Kim b'makom asher yesham Adoni hamelach im lamavet im lachayim kisham yavdecha. He says, I will be with you, my master the king, through death and life. I will be there with you. I am your servant. I will be there with you no matter what, David. I have total allegiance and loyalty to you. Kafbet, Vayomer David al Itai, Lech Vavor, don't do this. Go away. It's not your battle. I don't want to be responsible for you. Vayavor Itai Hagiti v'chon hashav v'chol taf asher ito. But Itai does again, and he passes through with them. V'chol haaretz, the Navi says in Kaf Gimel. Sorry, Kaf Bet is Leich va'avor, come and pass and go with us. V'chol haaretz bochim kol gadol. The whole land was crying. V'chol ha'am ovrim, and everyone was passing by David. V'melach over benachol kidron. V'chol ha'am ovrim al pnei kol derech et hamidbar. And the king was passing by Nachal Kidron, and the rest of the nation, in his people, were passing by towards the Midbar. We just mentioned Nachal Kidron, so I just thought it would be important to look up where exactly it is. So we look up our ever-important source, Wikipedia. Don't tell, all the other social studies teachers. But on the Kidron Valley, it writes, is the valley on the eastern side of the old city of Yerushalayim. So it makes a lot of sense, right? That they were leaving Yerushalayim, and they're passing by Nachal Kidron, which is on the eastern side of the old city of Yerushalayim, separating the Temple Mount, that's Har Moriah, from the Har HaZeitim. It continues through the Judean desert towards the Dead Sea. So it's a very long, far-reaching nachal. But it begins in the old city. So that's what they were crossing to get to the Midbar, as we are learning in Shmuel Bet. Let's continue on. I think that was just important to recognize where exactly this is. V'hine gam tzadok v'chol haleviim ito. So now who else was coming? Tzadok. Who was Tzadok? He was a Kohen. And all the Leviim were with him. Nosim et Aaron brit ha'elokim. They were carrying, right, the Leviim's job, as we discussed in Perek Vav, was to carry the Aaron. Vayitziku et Aaron ha'elokim. Vayal Eviatar tom kol ha'am lavur min ha'ir. Okay, we'll have to discuss what does Vayitzoku mean. That they brought the Aaron, Vayatziku. It's a strange word, Vayatziku et Aaron Elokim. Look in the Mefarshim as to what that word means, Vayatziku. Vayal Aviatar Tom Kol Ha'am, and Aviatar also was one of the Kohanim. Let everyone go by, Lavor Min Ha'ir. Vayomer HaMelech LeTzadok, Pasuk Kaf Hey, Hashev et Aaron Elokim La'ir. Don't let the Aaron leave with us, right? Imam sachein b'nei Hashem v'heshivani v'erani oto v'etnavehu. David now says something so unbelievable. It shows his true emunah in Hashem. He says to Tzadok, why are you bringing the Aron? The whole point of me going to Yerushalayim is to get the Aron there. That's the first step of building Beit HaMikdash. For me to take the Aron back is backwards. And he says, Imam sachein b'nei Hashem. If I truly find favor in the eyes of God, He will return me. V'heshivani, I will return back to Yerushalayim. V'rani oto v'etnavehu. He'll show me, Him. I'll see Hashem, etnavehu, and His home. Ko yamar lo chafatzti bach. But if Hashem says, you know what? Maybe David's saying, I'm not fit for this job. I shouldn't be the king anymore. I have to do what's best for Hashem, not what's best for me. What's best for Hashem is to keep the Aron in Yerushalayim. Vayomer Melech al Tzadok HaKohen. And now he says something so amazing. Haro'eh ata, shuva ha'ir b'shalom. You see, go back to the city. He says to Tzadok the Kohen, you with Achimaatz your son and Yehonatan your son must, and Eviatar, go back to Yerushalayim. After all, they're Kohanim. Kohanim are not going to get affected by Avshalom. If he was doing it for true intention, he's not going to kill the Kohanim. It says, Ru'u anochi mitmahameya ba'arvot hamidbar ad bo davar mimachem lahagili. You guys are going to be my spies, my agents in the walls of Yerushalayim. You're going to tell me what's going to happen. You'll send your sons, Achimatz and Yehonatan, to send word, Abo davar mimachem lahagili. You'll send word to them what is going on, what Avshalom is doing in Yerushalayim, and I will know how to act based on that. We'll see how this comes into play later. Kaftet. Vayashev Tzadok ve'Eviatar et Aron Akim Yerushalayim ve'yeshvu sham. So Tzadok and Eviatar returned the Aron to Yerushalayim, and they lived. They went back and they moved back to Yerushalayim. V'David ole b'ma'alei hazeitim. Pasuk Lamed. David went up to Ma'alei hazeitim, the hill of the Zeitim. Ole uvoche. He was crying. V'rosh lo chafui. His head was empty. It's a sign of mourning. V'holech v'yachef. And he was walking barefoot. V'chol ha'am esherito. And all the people that were with him, chafu ish rosho. All their heads were empty. Valu Allah uvacha, they're also crying. They're all in mourning over the loss of David and his people over Yerushalayim. And just then, David higi lemor, and someone told David, Achitophel bakoshrim im Avshalom. Achitophel is in koshrim. He is in cahoots. He is connected with Avshalom. Vayomer David, sakel na et atzat Achitophel Hashem. So David says we have to figure out how to confound Achitophel's advice. Vayi David ba'ad arosh, asher ishtachave sham leilokim, v'hine likrato chushai ha'arki, karua kutanto, v'adama al rosho. As David is bowing towards God, like leaving Yerushalayim, Hushai, another individual that we have to know who this is, Hushai Ha'arki, comes to visit David, also with his clothing is ripped, and he has dirt on his head. Who else do we see already in our Perek? In our Sefer, that his he had Adama al Rosho. Just try to remember. Vayomer lo David, im avarti iti, vayiti alay lamasa. Okay, we will stop here, and we will continue on the next video.